All right, everybody. Hi, Cynthia.
Hey.
It's been a little bit since we've done this class, and it is really, really special, really, really special to me, and really, really special to be doing it with Cynthia. So, welcome, Cynthia. I'm going to pass it right to you.
Okay. Well,
Mhm.
guys, I'm so grateful for you spending the time with us this evening. We are so excited. If you haven't been introduced to these oils yet, the oils of ancient scripture, there are 10 essential oils that have been around for since time has been around. I mean, there's nothing new under the sun, as they say. There's documentation on all of these oils from way back in time, and they are also usable for current times. So I'm not going to ask the question. Why do you think essential oils were used in ancient times? Anybody want to venture a guess?
Because they work.
Good. Yes, I like that. That's right. And basically that's true. They smell good, but beyond that, what people understood was that they were good for our health. They work, like you said, they work. The two most well-known oils are frankincense and myrrh. And they were brought up no matter what your faith base is. Most of us have heard about it through the story of Jesus, Joseph, and Mary. They were so valued that they were brought to him as a gift. But what most people don't really realize and understand is that back then, infants died at a high rate being born. And so frankincense and myrrh were highly valued to keep death away, basically. They became a part of the integral life, health, and wellness of the ancients or the ancestors, whatever you like to call them. And the other question I want to ask you is, do you know where the term anointing comes from? Anybody got an idea? Okay. Well, the oils were used in that way too, but I'll have to find it in my notes. The actual thing that happened was the sheep, when the shepherds were out in the fields and the bugs and things would get all in their eyes and everything, they noticed that when they poured oil over them, it protected them. So that's part of the reason where the term anointing comes from. I thought that was just a very interesting tidbit that I read up on. Um, so Katie, do you want to go into the chemistry part before I'll let you do the chemistry part.
Oh, beautiful. um, so, this is actually a really good piece for, again, like we were saying before, the people that might need to know, like, why essential oils actually work. Because I'm somebody who absolutely knows that if I'm in a botanical garden, a pine forest, my own garden, anywhere that's like sort of air that's saturated by plants, I know that my body feels better. And that's because there's essential oils in the plants that are surrounding me, and that's what's in the air, and that's what I'm breathing in, and that's what's on my skin. But that's also because there's lots of monoterpenes and sesquiterpenes, which elevate you emotionally and spiritually. They also oxygenate the cells and they stimulate the brain. And if you've ever done Raindrop, I think this is a really beautiful example. And if you haven't seen it, I actually did it a little bit live yesterday with my son who had an injury that kind of left his body feeling a little junky and out of whack. But you can see that when we go in with these oils, like you can see how the body responds when you go in and you reprogram the cells with the right information. And that's what happens with oils. Aromas dissipate quickly. So in with monoterpenes, so those might need to be applied more often. Frankincense is heavy monoterpenes. Cypress, Rose of Sharon, those are or cistus. Those are the three that are like heavy monoterpenes in this particular kit. We also have sesquiterpenes, which are calming and elevating. And they deprogram. So, really, we like to deprogram first, like in the raindrop technique, we deprogram first. We kind of clean out the cells, and then we reprogram the cells with what we want, the information that we want the cells to have. And that's, I know this isn't a raindrop class, but that's why it's in the order that it's in. So you have these abilities here with these oils to clean out and then reprogram with monoterpenes and sesquiterpenes. And then we have phenols, and phenols are antimicrobial, highly cleansing. Sometimes they can be a little bit spicy. Cassia is one. Cassia is pretty like a hotter oil. And that's just kind of a little bit of the chemistry of that.
Yep. Did anybody have any questions about that before we move forward? I don't see. Okay. I don't see anything written. Okay. So our first oil that we're going to talk about is cypress. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about the spiritual side of it, or the ancient side of it. And then Katie will come in and do the current or reason why these work. So the scriptural thing about cypress is that well, first of all, its name means in Greek, live forever. That should tell you something. And as Katie was saying, it's high in monoterpenes, 77%. So it is a great reprogrammer, which means it corrects, information, bad information in the cells. And it's included in many of our blends. But cypress is mentioned in many scriptures, but one of the most known ones is Genesis 6:14. So make yourself an ark of cypress wood, make rooms in it, and coat it with pitch inside and out, talking about Noah's ark. So just imagine if our Creator instructed him to make this with cypress wood, how powerful is that wood, and how powerful is the oils that come from it. So it represents healing, uprightness, eternal life, and ability to endure harshness. And the island of Cyprus is named after these trees, and it's the custom to plant them around cemeteries to symbolize life after death. And that was in the Mediterranean. And legend has it that the cross that Jesus carried was made of cypress, pine, and cedar woods, and that the doors of Rome, of St. Peter Basilica, is made of cypress and over 1,200 years old, guys. And it shows no sign of decay yet. I mean, that is just amazing to me. So we'll move into modern uses with Katie.
I actually just pulled something up. So that I've never ever looked at before, but cypress wood, aside from this biblical piece, has been highly valued through centuries because of its longevity and because of its resistance to rot. Now, a lot of times when we talk about what essential oils are what keep plants alive. They're the lifeblood of the plant. They keep plants from rotting, from mold, from disease. So just the fact that like the pulp of this tree has such a it's just so well known for its longevity is pretty huge. They make like canoes out of it and water pipes, and things for such a long time. If you've seen, speaking of like the challenges I was talking about before, there is the lymph challenge right now, the lymph detox that people are doing. And cypress is one of the oils that's being used. It is really awesome for your skin health. It's really good for lymphatic congestion. So if you know anybody who's pregnant or you're pregnant, you know, like this is really, really good for swelling. If you're somebody who swells when you travel, you would definitely want to have cypress on hand. Put it all over your ankles and your legs. Um, it is really, really excellent for the circulatory system, just for like overall general skin health, but also it reduces the appearance of cellulite. I use cypress and Cellulite Magic and then a fascia blaster to like get my legs ready for shorts, to be honest. But it's also amazing for liver support, lung support. If anybody has any respiratory stuff going on, throw cypress into the diffuser, put the diffuser into the bathroom, and steam up the bathroom. Or take a bath with cypress in there. It's unbelievable. Um, you can do a foot soak, you can do a full body soak. But what's really beautiful about this is there's a lot of, physical pieces in there, and the respiratory as well, but it's also an emotional oil. So you can diffuse cypress and create a feeling of security and grounding. Um, it's an incredible oil that I guess I didn't really experience until I started doing Raindrop, and then it was like the one that would pour out all over my spine. This has happened to Diana too. Cypress will just like pour out. Like when you're putting oils on people and you notice that something moves a little faster, that means that the person probably needs it. Um, Also, if you ever have like, so think of all your lymph areas, your underarms, your throat. If you're ever dealing with respiratory stuff, put cypress all over your throat, around your ears, and allow drainage to flow. It's one of my favorites and it smells amazing.
Yes.
Hold on, I
And
have two
I
different
like this
notes.
this added tidbit in it aids in controlling nosebleeds. I did not realize that till
There's actually a few oils in this kit that are like make it a like a first aid kit, and they're particularly good at stopping bleeding, which is helpful.
mhm, mhm.
Apply them as
um
you're talking about them?
Sorry.
Should we apply them as you're talking
Oh
about
my
them?
gosh, that's such a good point. I was thinking of, there was a couple like things, notes I wanted to say at the beginning that I forgot. Number one, that is really smart. If you have this kit and or any of the oils in the kit, put them on as we were talking about them. If you don't, watch the recording after you get the kit. So I asked this before and then I forgot why I was asking it. If you're already a member, you likely know how to place an order, but if you do not, please reach out to us and we will show you how to place an order. This kit is a really good value for the oils that you're getting in there.
I'm so sorry.
Also,
My neighbor just rang the doorbell. Let me let him know I can.
oh, that's fine. I'll keep
I'll be
talking.
right.
I'll keep talking. Also, if there's anybody in here who's not already a Young Living member, please talk to the person who invited you about placing an order and becoming a member of your own, if you're looking to get this kit. So, also, there's like a big sign up bonus right now happening, like a lot of extra money back in your pocket if you sign people up. So, if you're looking to get this kit and you've got someone like a spouse or a family member that's not a member yet, you could enroll them with this kit, and that's over 100 PV. Just making smart choices here to get oils in the houses for on the cheap. Okay. Yes, I think that was everything I wanted to say. There's a couple more things I forgot to mention about cypress, so I'm going to say them now while Cynthia's. Oh, she's back. This is a really good anger oil. Purification is another. That's not in this kit, but that's just a freebie. This is also a really amazing oil if you're experiencing grief. So those are two more pieces that you might want to know just as far as the emotional end. And then there's just some fun too. Like you can use this for a deodorant. You can use it with V6 as an insect repellent. Again, the nosebleeds. This was something where when my son got hit in the neck yesterday by a baseball, and I knew that was going to subluxate his neck, I put cypress all over his neck because I don't want anything impacting the way that the rest of his body functions. So even if his jaw was fine, inside you've got all these moving parts, right? And you want your body to be doing what it's supposed to do. That's what essentially like we want to promote with oils is allowing your body to do what it's supposed to do. We want the lymph to drain, right? So that's one of the places that I would put cypress. All right, back to you, Cynthia.
Okay. So our next oil is frankincense. And I have to say, I use this oil literally every single day in various ways. But it's the word is Greek and Hebrew for incense. And it must be 40 years old in order to extract the resin for this particular oil. And that's very significant biblically. So 40 years is significant because it means one generation in biblical times. And it grows in some of the toughest of regions, on dry soil, on rocks. And it is just one of those oils that when you use it, you feel how it resonates through your body. It is high in monoterpenes. It reprograms miswritten DNA, and it promotes healing on a cellular level. And some of the scriptures behind this oil, although it's mentioned frequently throughout the Bible, Matthew 2:11, on coming to the house, they saw the child with his mother Mary, and they bowed down and worshiped him. Then they opened their treasures and presented him with gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. That just tells you how valuable this oil is. And then in Exodus 30 and 34, chapter 30, verses 23 through 24, and 34 through 35, there's an anointed oil recipe that is extremely high in monoterpenes that is mentioned in the Bible, and it includes frankincense. And then in Revelations 18, it's mentioned in the last scripture of the Bible. And I'll tell you, the Egyptians, even before this time, considered it a cure-all. That says a lot. It's used in embalming, and it's mentioned literally 22 times in the Bible directly and 59 times indirectly. And it is, for me, it is my spiritual oil. And I literally use sacred frankincense every morning before I meditate and pray, because it affects the pineal gland, which is right up here, and your connection gets even stronger, your spiritual connection. And I put this on before I started the class, and I'm putting some more on. And just breathe it in. So powerful. Oh, it sends a shockwave through me every time.
You've always said that.
It really
You
does.
like consistently say it with like, I mean, it's like such a powerful one for you. And I think
put it in my hair.
A lot of people.
This is my favorite diffuser, is my hair.
The Egyptians may have used it as like a, what did you say, like a catch-all or like a
cure-all, they call it.
Cure-all. And I call it the Swiss Army knife of oils. Like
Mhm.
there is never a time that I don't have frankincense on me because I know I don't cure anything, of course. I've never cured anything. Um, but I can tell you that if there's ever, I'm a mom of young kids, so first aid kind of things would be something that's important to me. I'm grabbing frankincense. You've got a kid who's got some adrenal fatigue and freaking out, frankincense. I'm a yoga teacher. I use it every day on my third eye before I teach yoga. It goes in with my skincare.
Mhm.
I have my son's kindergarten, son and daughter actually have both had my friend Darby, who's sometimes on these calls. She just texted me in the middle of this. I just burned myself. What do I grab first? Frankincense and lavender if you have it, but like frankincense forever and always. Um, so, but it's a practical oil, right? Like it can be used for your skin. It can be used for your brain health. It can be, oh, this is huge. I mean, I've been oiling for a long time, and we didn't have necessarily all the blends that we have now. And immune support, when I basically just had the starter kit, you were always adding frankincense to any roller that had thieves in it. Frank Lemon and Thieves was like my go-to very first immune roller that I was passing out to people when they were dealing with sick people. Anybody know anyone who's been sick lately? You might want to hand them some Frank right now. You can drink frankincense. It's anti-tumoral. Don't go telling your doctors I said this, but it's anti-tumoral. So if a lot of women that are using oils, I know, put frankincense on their moisturizer and then they rub frankincense all over their chest and abdomen. To me,
Take a capsule of it every day.
do you?
I do. And I started that. What started me that was everybody knows what Wilson's situation was since we're recording. I'm not going to use the word, but it was recommended because of it being a cell rejuvenator
Yep.
that we use frankincense with him. And I started taking it also in capsule form. I would put the drops in my capsule with longevity and copiapa.
Yep.
And it's powerful.
I had a very dear family member go through a diagnosis that was under the same umbrella. And we were doing a tremendous amount of Ningxia Red and
Yes.
a tremendous amount of frankincense
Yes. On the body, on the bottom of the feet,
internally.
ingesting it.
Yep.
And like you said, I use it in all my skin stuff.
Yep. And this is absolutely not a vitality oil, so I probably wouldn't ever put it in my mouth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's every day.
A lot of Sacred Frank under my tongue, guys. Like a little bit of a science experiment over here. Frank is also in a ton of our products,
Yes.
which I love because it's not the cheapest, right? It comes from Oman, which is why it's actually expensive if you want to know. It's because it's resin tapped and it takes a lot to get it and it takes a lot to get it here. So, I mean, it cost me $90 to fill my Jeep up today. So, frankincense is worth every single penny we pay for it. It's also beautiful that Young Living puts it into so many things. It's in the blends Gathering, which I have actually been using so much. My son scanned for it yesterday. Humility, another one. Forgiveness, Harmony, Acceptance, Trauma Life, Valor, Immupower, Brain Power, Longevity. Frankincense resin is also in our Sleek gum, which is awesome for supporting your oral health.
Okay.
I know. I've been around the block a time or two. Sometimes the things I remember, I can't believe. I'm like, oh, that's correct. Frankincense resin.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that about the gum.
Yep.
Mhm. Very
That's why
good.
it's a little bit chalky. I'm not going to say it's a little bit chalky. It's awfully chalky. But I don't use it like I would use a Trident. I use it to support my gum health, and then I add a drop of peppermint oil to it. So
Okay.
just an aside.
That's good
Oh,
to
I
know.
love the next oil so much.
Okay. The next oil is hyssop, and it means holy herb in Hebrew. It's a very earthy, woodsy aroma. It's known for cleansing, high, high in antioxidants. It has monoterpenes, ketones, and it stimulates creativity. And it is in a lot of blends too. But the scriptural references for this are Psalms 51:7. Purge me with hyssop, and I shall be clean. Other noteworthy scriptures are Exodus 12:21 through 22. It was used as when they put the blood over the door frames of the Israelites. I don't know. Most of you should are familiar with that. But when the plague was supposed to come through, it was used as a protectant over the doors of the Israelites so that the children would not be harmed and killed. And then in John 19:28 and 30, the wine soaked sponge that was presented on a stalk of hyssop to Jesus right before he passed away and said, "It is finished." So it symbolizes cleansing, and it is used actually for spiritual cleansing. But beyond that, it's also a great antiseptic. And I'll tell you, when meditating and in different rituals, it also is one of those oils. When you combine the oils like frankincense, hyssop, and myrrh, you want to talk about being elevated to a different level where you can focus in and your spirituality elevates. These oils are were created for this reason. I truly believe that. I everything about these oils were created with a divine purpose, spiritually, physically, emotionally. These oils are divinely created. And
Cynthia, what were the three again? Frank, hyssop, and what?
and myrrh. And I'll let Katie talk about the modern things of hyssop because she says this is her favorite.
I just, you know, this is why going to classes like this is so important. And I remember the first time I ever walked through this kit was Cynthia. I think you were there. That might have been the next year, the first year that we came down and did ancient scripture, and Carrie taught it. Were you there for that one?
Yes, I
I
was.
thought so. I thought so. And so Carrie McVig has just a lot of years of experience with healing people and healing people with oils and touch and her light. And she taught us that hyssop in a spoonful of honey is like the magic cough remedy. Hi,
I've
Kels.
forgotten about that.
Yeah, you can put it right into honey. So then you could also put that obviously right into tea, but not every kid wants to drink tea. And that's a problem for a lot of parents and caretakers who are trying to help heal like constant cough in young kids. So, honey, and if you're in the US, absolutely no honey after one, before one. And if you're in the Caribbean, like I was raised in a lot of my life, I was having honey as a remedy as a very, very young child. So you do you on that. Um, but honey is a really good way to get oils into children. You could also do hot compresses with hyssop to reduce inflammation of joints. Um, some of us who are doing the lymph challenge and doing like any kind of detoxing or just living in a world with joints that are achy and creaky and might have inflammation, this is excellent for that. You can apply it with cold compresses if you are experiencing an injury that might cause bruising. You can drop some on your shoulders to reduce tension. It's really good mixed in with like any of our massage oils. It is antiviral, antibacterial, and antiparasitic. So this will be probably, this recording will be on YouTube with a password. But, you know, I'm not a doctor and I'm not claiming that you should treat any sort of virus with anything, but bringing your body back into alignment is clutch. It's an expectorant. So hyssop is an expectorant. And that's the thing about, like, you know, sometimes you got to get the mucus out. And that's what, that's how the honey will help. You can add this to your bath water, and it helps with exhaustion, with emotions running high. If you are, you know, trying to boost your creativity, or you're just trying to meditate. And also, oh, I should tell this to Darby right now. It's great for burns. Yeah, great for burns. So this was in the 20th century. The physicians would use this herb to soothe burned skin.
There was a note in Melissa mentioned that it's good for addictions, and Clavis is asking, can you elaborate on that, Melissa?
It's in the book. I just remembered it, and I remember a girlfriend wanting to come over and borrow some.
Okay.
I know a lot of us have like sugar stuff happening, so it's nice to put it on and, you know, help just clear it out.
Okay, okay. You're talking about, for those that don't know, let me see if I have one here.
I just have to say this really fast while
Okay, there we
we're
go.
on the topic, but it's actually not. It's about thieves. I once was helping a friend try to quit smoking, and the recommended products for that are the entire Thieves cleaning kit. Thieves is the oil, but it was like use everything from the oral care to the mouthwash to the household cleaner.
Huh.
Thieves.
Okay.
I love that. So
And then
there's like a community of people who are working through a variety of addictions, and I think there's a separate Facebook group actually if that's something that you ever need any support with or have a loved one who might. And that extra piece of information is like, that is huge.
there's also these fume things, just gonna throw out there. Have you seen this? That for people who want to stop smoking, my husband needs to stop chewing. So this is in our car, and you put essential oil on it, on this.
Cool.
And thieves and black pepper is his favorite.
Awesome.
Just-
You should tell him about hyssop.
Random coincidence.
Yeah. Maybe hyssop will help, even though that seemed like it was a sugar thing. I want to know more, Melissa. You better tell me. All right. Are we
Trying
ready
to
to
stay
move on to-
compliant, so
I know.
I know we're
I'm
trying.
way out of compliance, you guys. Just call the FDA. Please do not call the FDA. I don't know anything. It's just all personal use.
All right, our next oil is myrrh, and it originates in Somalia, and it is one of the highest levels of sesquiterpenes. So it directly affects our hypothalamus, the pituitary, and the amygdala, the seat of our emotions, and it stimulates emotions and oxygenates the brain. I'm being tongue-tied this evening, to deprogram the miswritten DNA on the cellular level. But it is a pain reliever. It is antioxidant, anti-tumoral, anti-inflammatory, anti-parasitic. It's an analgesic. It's a fungal it helps with fungal infections, tooth infections, skin conditions. And it is mentioned, get this, guys, 157 times in the Bible. Think about that. It's the first oil mentioned in Genesis 37 and 25 with the story of Joseph. It's the last oil mentioned in Revelations 18 and 13. It's mentioned with the cleansing of the women in Esther. It's offered to Jesus to numb his pain, and because it was mixed in with that wine mixture that we talked about earlier, but he didn't take it. But that lets you know they knew about this oil. It was used back during biblical times when women were pregnant. They anointed themselves to protect themselves from disease, and it also helped elevate for them a feeling of well-being. It was used on newborns' umbilical cords to promote healing and protection against what they felt like was generational curses. And it was used on women when they were getting ready to birth. The perineum, which is the area between I had to look this up, y'all, because I did not know what it was, between your vaginal area and your anus area that stretches out for the baby to come through. They used it to help stretch that area so that the women would not tear. And it was used to prolong the life of fragrances and oils and ointments during that time, and as a bug repellent. So, I mean, this is why it was mentioned so many times. It is, what can I say? It is so very powerful. And it has lots of current uses. We'll let Katie talk about that.
So I just like any little like blemish, any cut, any sore, anything in my gums, any like teething pain. I'm grabbing myrrh. I might grab myrrh and add it to copaiba, but myrrh always. I had like a couple weird experiences with like rashy skin and nothing seemed to be soothing my skin. And it's a pretty viscous oil, so putting myrrh on it was like really the trick for me. I had like a lip sore that it was really good for. You can use it for candida overgrowth. It's found in so many things. It's found in so many blends. Humility, again, white angelica, abundance, 3 wise men, Exodus 2, hope, gratitude, endogize, thyromin, art renewal serum, rose ointment, and Clariderm spray, which is another one I should have told my kids' kindergarten teacher about. You can put it on your toothbrush. You can add it to your toothpaste. It also supports the thyroid, the endocrine system, the immune system, and the respiratory system. So this is something that, you might want to add to blends. If you're like making blends for people who have congestion, rollers, add it for that. Hyssop and myrrh together are really awesome for any like breathing, chest, cough kind of stuff. You can add it to water and a little witch hazel and make like a wound spray. Myrrh is something to have on hand all the time. I find like empty bottles of myrrh everywhere. I'm like, why? Please let it be November so that it'll be part of the promos again.
All
right.
I didn't know that about the wound spray. That's pretty neat.
Yeah. Yep. Just a little first aid kit replacement.
Yes. So our next oil is myrtle.
Wait, you have something? Yeah, Diana, go for it.
Sorry, I don't need to be so formal and raise my hand.
I was like, is that a hand raise? What is she doing? Is she talking?
I'm not out of work mode yet. it gets like super gunked up in the top. Is there a trick? Any tricks or
Put it in your bra.
okay?
Well,
Put it in
also to
your-
get that gummy part off, just rub a little carrier oil around it.
Yep.
And
Okay.
I put the little top on it, one of these little tops.
Okay.
Smart.
Oh, cool idea, Helen.
I do have those. Okay. I'll do that. Thanks,
But
Helen.
usually I find that when it does get gunked up, it gets like it might need to be warmed up, and you never want to warm up oils too quickly. So that's why like the oils in the bra trick is like always my go-to. But yes, I have heard the carrier in the top. I've never seen that good dropper trick though.
Yeah. I did the rim of my top with the carrier oil, but I like the dropper too.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Good question.
hmm So myrtle.
Myrtle.
Myrtle has a very clean kind of eucalyptus smell to it, and it's Latin for chaste beauty. And it's elevating to the mind, and it purifies holy spaces. It supports respiratory system, promotes healthy skin, hair, and nails. It's great for the thyroid and endocrine system, and it's high in antioxidants, and it balances male and female energies. And it's got a very, very close chemistry to frankincense. So that's why it's almost like these oils were designed symbiotically to go together. The ancient scriptures that it's mentioned 6 times, but one of the main ones is in Esther 2 and 7, where Esther is referred to as Hadass, which is the Hebrew name for myrtle. And it was used in religious ceremonies, ritual purifications for uncleanliness, and in several feasts. It was used in the Feast of Tabernacles, and that's in Nehemiah 8, 14, and 15. So it wasn't mentioned a lot in the Bible, but it has great, great uses, which Katie will tell us about.
I am always like surprised by how much I love adding this to any respiratory blend that I'm putting into either the bath or into diffusers, because like sometimes things like peppermint is a great one, but it can be stimulating. And some people cannot diffuse peppermint. Some people cannot diffuse some of our blends at night. This is a really good sleepy respiratory oil. And if you've ever done Vitaflex, which is the first part of the raindrop, there is a very specific Vitaflex technique that can be done to open up the airways and open up the bronchioles. And this is the oil that you want to use. So, somebody was once like we have our RCs and our Raven, use those when you're diffusing, when you've got somebody home sick and you want to open up airways, right? Save the myrtle for the nighttime and save the myrtle for Vitaflex. It's really, really amazing. This is an oil that I have seen people gargle to help support their vocal cords. Singers like this oil to help clear the voice. It's good for skin and hair and nails, but this is kind of a super special one for the throat and the chest area. It's also actually good for stomach issues. It is another one that's great for lifting your spirit. So you've got that like benefit while you're using it for other things. And it's found in RC, Exodus 2, Purification, Breathe Again, Endoflex, Juvatone, Mr. Supercal, Thyromin, and Prostate Health. It's not always the easiest oil, as is some of these oils actually in this kit. Another really, really good reason to get the kit is they're not always available individually. So they're always going to fill oils for blends first, rather than having, let's say we'll just use myrtle, or like wintergreen. We just got wintergreen back as a single, but wintergreen goes into Panaway. It goes into a lot of other things. So they're going to fill that first. So if you ever want myrtle on its own and you can't get it, you can get it in the scripture kit. And the scripture kit's available a lot of the time. Not always, but that's a good way to get it. Other things too, like Annika, which we're going to talk about later, you can't really get on your own. Sometimes you can get cassia, sometimes you can't. So this is a good one for that. We're actually on to Annika next.
Yep, that is the next one. It means nail, hoof, and also onyx, which is a precious stone. It's extracted from gum resin of a tree that grows in the Far East, Java, and Indonesia. And it means fingernail in Greek, which I was like, oh, that's quite interesting. It's also known as friar's balm and Javanesa frankincense or benzoin. It's highly has a high viscosity, which means it's a very thick oil. And it contains a lot of antimicrobial properties. And it used to be mixed with ethyl alcohol and was called tincture of benzoin because it also contains vanillin aldehyde, which is found in vanilla beans. It's used for cleansing, purification, and it releases past emotions. And in the scriptures, it is part of that anointed oil recipe that was mentioned earlier in Exodus 30, verses 34 through 35. It's blended in holy incense as a cleanser and purifier for sacrificial areas back in the day. And it was used as a perfume because of the vanilla aroma and as an ointment for healing skin wounds. And prior to World War II, that tincture of benzoin, it had been used for over 200 years in hospitals as an antiseptic and respiratory support, which is quite interesting when you think about. And I want to say that I read recently that this mixture is actually coming back into play. So what goes around comes around. Jillian, is she?
I have a question. Yeah.
Yes.
You had said it was used for over 200 years before World War II as, what was it? As
In hospitals,
in
as
hospitals.
antiseptic and for respiratory support.
And it's also the one that stops the bleeding.
Oh, I did not know that.
That's
Okay.
the one.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
no wonder it was used.
Right.
Okay,
Yep.
okay.
Antiseptic, it stops bleeding, and sorry.
That's okay.
And what
And
was the third?
and respiratory.
Sorry. Thank you.
It's also antimicrobial.
And antimicrobial.
But
Okay.
the non-doctors didn't say that.
The non-doctors.
They did not say that.
Katie, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay. It's also a really big spiritual and emotional oil.
Mhm.
You can apply this oil to your neck during prayer or meditation. It is used for kind of unearthing suppressed feelings, for feelings of annihilation and being eliminated, particularly if you look that up in the Blue Book. That is Annika. It promotes feelings of liberation, freedom, and emancipation. You can diffuse this with lavender for soothing and calming effect in the house. It is known as the emergency kit oil, the instant band-aid. It's also good for wound cleaning. And it speeds up healing because, again, oils are going to help your body do what it's supposed to do. So it's going to speed up healing, help your body do its own infection prevention, slow bleeding down, and just put it right directly on a scrape. Of course, we don't ever put oils in the eyes, in the ears, or on any open wound, but I do have a magical ear massage video from when my daughter was not even 1, and I'm putting oils on my fingers and right in. So I'm just going to say that's up to you on how you do that. But it's another one that's really good for the respiratory system. And isn't this funny that so many of the oils are really good for your emotional health and also support the respiratory system. So that's a direct link. I have like a personal, very, very, very close story. My own daughter who had a year of big respiratory health struggles after I had experienced some extreme grief at the very end of my pregnancy. So consider here that when we say like, oh, this is directly tied to, your hips or your emotional state of your body, or you process grief in your lungs. Well, look at how many times we've mentioned grief. Look at how many times we've said this is a great emotional oil, and how many times we've mentioned respiratory health.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really important to make that connection for yourself and for your family.
Mm-hmm.
You can also use this as deodorant, but I wouldn't, because you're going to need it if you ever have anybody bleeding. Get Kunzia for deodorant.
And
all right, Rose of Sharon.
next oil is Rose of Sharon,
Yes.
or cistus.
Love it.
Yes. It's grown in the fertile plains of Jaffa and Mount Carmel in Israel. And it is high in monoterpenes, which once again reprograms cellular memory. It's anti-inflammatory, anti-hemorrhagic, and it helps the fight or flight part of our bodies, or the sympathetic nervous system, because it calms you down and it helps to elevate emotions. It's great. Once again, here we go. Respiratory support. It's great. It helps to regenerate cells. It has a beautiful, soft honey scent. It's worn as a perfume, and it stimulates all 5 of the senses. And it was used, this particular oil was mentioned in Song of Solomon, which is our love chapter of the Bible. And in it says, I am the rose of Sharon and the lily of the valley. And it was used when they were preparing, when the couple were preparing themselves for each other to do what married couples do. And it can be mixed with myrrh. And it was actually first, this is the oil that I was talking about the shepherds. They noticed that the gum from this shrub, they would put it over the sheep and goats, and when they would have scrapes and things, it would heal, and it would also help to ward off anything, the bugs and things, from getting in those wounded areas. I'll let Katie take the rest.
So a lot of us are, doing our best to help other people. And sometimes when you're doing the emotional work, or any light work, or any healing of any kind, not sometimes, all the time, it's really important to protect your own energy. And white angelica is a really, really nice oil for that. But sometimes we're dealing with things that are a little bit rough. When you're really deeply connected and you're an empath and you want to help, you might need something stronger. So, like I mentioned Carrie a lot. Carrie has taught me a lot about what I know. Carrie and Michael, her husband, McBig, and this is her oil. She's doing work that's far, far beyond. I mean, I love white angelica. I'm not throwing it any shade. It works wonders for my children, but I'm dealing with some big shit when I'm working with other people, right? We're trusting each other. We're life coaching. You're working with people. You're doing emotional release. raindropping people. Cistus is above and beyond like the best oil for protecting your own energy. I have often said it's like White Angelica on steroids.
Mhm.
So that's really if you wear your heart on your sleeve kind of a thing, this is the oil that you want. You can use it for meditation. It oxygenates the brain, it quiets the mind. You can apply it to your wrists, inside the elbows, the temples, soles of the feet. It's really good for inflammation. You can rub it on your chest, on the spine for immune support. It is found in Imu Power, The Gift, Kid Sense, Tender Touch, which is funny. It's such an amazing oil. It's grown in Spain, and so sometimes when the Diamond Retreat goes to Spain or to Europe, or if it's on a cruise, they'll go to the farm there and they'll cut it, and it's really tough, and you'll see them like hacking it with machetes. So if you're someone who's got to be tough for others, you might want to throw a little cistus on.
Okay. Yep. All right. Our next one is, how do you apply it to protect yourself?
Oh, the same as I do White Angelica. So you can put it on your shoulders. That's what I do for my children. But for myself, I will apply either White Angelica or cistus, depending on what I'm doing and what I have in my hands. And then I basically cloak it over my body, like literally creating a cloak. I will like go down my arms, I'll go down my body, just like getting rid of any residual negativity that I don't want to bring to my client. I almost said patient, didn't mean it. Friend, person I'm helping. And then I will do it again after.
Okay. All right. Our next oil is aloes or sacred sandalwood. And there's a lot of things about this oil.
I don't know that.
Well, you're about to.
That was my I'm cutting this food thing off.
Siri doesn't know everything.
It is the most valuable tree in the world. Because it takes 10 years for this tree to form hardwood, 40 to 60 years for it to peak in formation. So its value is way up there. And actually, this is one of the trees that they're having to protect because it was so over-farmed. It has 90% sesquiterpenes that, of course, help with the deprogramming and carry oxygen to the cellular level. And the scriptures mentioned are Psalms 45:8 and John 19:39. This oil was in King Tut's tomb, and there was alabasters of jars just filled with this oil, but thieves broke in and stole it because it's just that valuable. And it's also an aphrodisiac oil because it was in the Song of Solomon, which is our love chapter, and it was also used when they were preparing themselves for each other. It's been used for embalming. It was used in Ayurvedic medicine, which is an ancient medicine, and religious ceremonies. And back in the day, they valued this oil for skin revitalization. And we'll go to the modern uses now.
This oil, if you watch any videos of people making their own skin serum, a lot of the times, if you're lucky enough to have it, sacred sandalwood or aloes is in there. I love the way that it smells. So sometimes people will mix it with things like joy or orange, or if you want something that's not so sweet, you could do one of the pine oils with it. And you can make your own cologne or perfume with it. But it's really, really good for the skin. You can mix it into your moisturizer. You can mix it into your skin serum. Also, it supports the cardiovascular system, the lymphatic system. It eases stress. It's really, really calming. I don't diffuse it a lot because I sort of like covet it. Like I want it on
Yeah.
my body if I'm going to use it.
Exactly.
I do put it on a lot, and I really like it in my moisturizer because I can smell it all day. That's my favorite way to like. That's my favorite diffuser is my skin. It can enhance sleep by stimulating the release of melatonin. Um, and I just really, if you don't want to put it on your skin, like put it in your hands and do that kind of, um, like the hand diffuser.
Mhm.
But it's another one where it's like some people use it in the bath with Epsom salts, and some people use it in the diffuser, but I want it like right in my nose.
It's a great, great oil.
And it is another one that's found in a lot of blends. Brain Power, Gathering, Gathering is a big one today. Gathering and Humility, grab them. Harmony, White Angelica, Awaken, and it's found in over 40 of our skincare products.
Yes. Yes. And so we're down to cassia. This, I love the taste of this oil. It's like cinnamon with a twist. It has a,
Sweeter, right? A little
yeah,
sweeter.
it's I can't even describe the taste, but it is one of the oldest known spices, very high in antioxidants, and it also cleans the receptor sites and detoxifies your body. It's known as Chinese cinnamon, but it's coarser, spicier, a little more pungent in smell, and I guess they use it a lot in their dishes. It's a very hot oil though, so you have to be very careful using it. And it is mentioned in Exodus chapter 30, verses 22 through 34. And it was also one of the ones that Moses used in his holy anointed oil. It's also referenced in Psalms 45 and 8 as being used as perfume for robes, because back then baths were not a big thing. So because they just didn't have the ability to go take a bath every day like we do. So they used oils and things like that to help them. But it's mentioned in the Bible over 50 times, and it's mentioned in Eber's papyrus for immunity, dating all the way back to the 16th century BC. So it's which is one of the oldest known medical records. So it's used as a cleanser, a purifier for priests, and it's used for cleansing the spirit. And it was an anointing. It was used originally by the shepherds again for insects, the sheeps, and over the nose of the sheeps, because there was a insect that would bury into the eyes and brain and kill them. So they used this oil also to protect their sheep. So once again, they poured the oil over the sheep's head and nose, and that's where the anointing comes from also. So the modern uses, go with Katie.
So cassia or Exodus 2, which has a high amount of cassia in it, are my go-to if I'm starting to feel and when I'm starting to feel like that, it starts in my throat. This is the first oil I will go to and drink. It supports the immune system, antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral, anti-inflammatory, anticoagulant. It's I feel like I can feel it whether I drink it or I gargle with it. It's just it's the first one I will always go to. But it's also got some emotional pieces to it. And this particular oil can help with releasing feelings of worthlessness or being unimportant. It promotes determination. It is spicy. So I have, in that first class, I put it in my hands and then I put it on my face and I was like, oh baby, that is a hot one. But it's sweet. It's sweeter than cinnamon to me. I like to put it in my tea because I just really love the flavor. Exodus 2 is like, oh, it's so good. It's not always in stock, but if you want cassia and you don't, and you can't find it, you can look for Exodus 2. That's a good one.
Okay.
And we actually do have one more. We have cedarwood.
This is the last one, guys. Cedarwood.
Last one, cedarwood.
Yes, and it is has a very woodsy, warm aroma, and it's now a protected species also. It's high in sesquiterpenes, and which is 95% sesquiterpenes. It stimulates the limbic region of the brain, including the amygdala again, which is the center of our emotions and memory, and it crosses the brain barrier, so it has the powerful ability to preserve and prevent decay also. So it was used as incense in Tibet, and cedar was an integral part of biblical rituals. And it was one for lepers, and for those who were impure, they used cedar wood to cleanse them of the evil spirits that they thought they possessed as lepers. And you see that in Leviticus chapter 14. In 1 Kings chapter 6, verses 9 through 15, the cedars of Lebanon are mentioned, where King Solomon's palace and temple was built. And they talk about why he was so wise. And they feel like it was part of it because everything around him was cedar wood. And cedar wood helps you think clearly and administer wise decisions. So King David was wise in using the wood, but it also helped him. If you know anything about King David, he was known as the wisest king in the Bible. So it's mentioned 25 times. It's in 8 books in the Bible. And it's the Chinese, the Sumerians, the Egyptians, they used it for embalming and mummifications. It's mentioned in the Babylonian tablets dating back to 1800 BC. It's known as the oil of gladness, and clothing was anointed with cedar to protect from humidity. Hence the cedar chests that people used to have, and they put things in. Cedar wood protects from humidity. Go ahead with the modern.
Okay, so this goes on the tops of the head of my kids and myself every single night for sleep. This is like one of our number one sleep oils. Maggie and Melissa on this call also have used it during this is what I love is right. So I can use peace and calming in the morning if I'm stressed out, but it'll knock me out at night, but it's not going to knock me out in the morning. Maggie and Melissa have taught us to put cedarwood on our thumb and then place it into the roof of your mouth to help stimulate focus and like creativity, like when we were going into a big all day sort of workshop kind of a thing. But I really do use it the most, I would say, for sleep, diffusing it. I also put it on their heads. And then if you look in the oily life, there are a lot of people who have used serums, sprays with cedarwood around their hairline to help promote hair growth. There's a lot of before and after pictures that you can go and see where little hair starts to regrow with a combination of cedarwood, rosemary, lavender, and I think
Peppermint.
clary sage and peppermint.
Sage or clary sage.
Yep. And that's all in the group. It's also great for the respiratory system, immune system. So think of that. Promotes sleep and also promotes the immune system and respiratory system. Sleep is huge. Jennifer Lopez just said, everybody, that the key to her longevity is sleep. That's amazing. For all the years I spent a lot of money on the same skincare crap that she was promoting that had a lot of toxins in it. Now it's just the darn sleep, and I can get that for like $11.25 with cedarwood, 15 ml. It's like no money, nothing. It's very cheap. It's always in stock. It's amazing, and I think it smells amazing. Also great for the skin, attention. If you have anybody in your life with ADHD, research has been done by Dr. Terry Friedman with cedarwood and attention. It's relaxing. You can use it as an insect repellent, keep pests away. I have put cedarwood in all, so I make one spray that I put on all of my plants, all of my people, and my dog. And cedarwood goes into it. So does rosemary, so does lavender, so does eucalyptus, so does citronella. Sometimes I'll throw some purification in there too. And that is the end. So if you don't have this kit, run and get it.
I'll tell you what I do too. I make a roller, and I found it was called Golden Drops.
Yep.
And I put 5 drops each of every one of the oils in this. And when I get the yucks, I roll this on the bottom of my feet. And because of what we're going through the last couple of years, I pretty much use this every day as protection from the yucks. So that's just a little something that I keep this in my bathroom and use it when I get out the shower every single day. That along with the raindrop oils. I also put them in a roller and roll them on the bottom of my feet.
Yep.
Every day.
Awesome. So I will save this recording. I will probably password protect it. But
You got a little non-compliant.
maybe not. I mean, I only poke fun at the FDA, but it's fine. They know what's up over here.
Was it non-compliance or just creativity?
That's right. Maybe if I had said a few less things about treating patients. No, I'm just kidding. But I do want to make it available to people because honestly, this class came from me being like, we got to teach it again because we don't have a recording, and I need somebody who's actually not on the call because his son, I had a meltdown, but that's okay. He's going to catch the recording. But I need to pass this information to people, and we hadn't recorded it because of the compliance. So now the true story about compliance is if you have a story that has worked for you, you can share it. That is true. That is true. And we have a lot of stories here. So
yeah.
That's a wrap for tonight, but thank you guys for attending, and please let me know if you'd like the recording, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, ladies.
See ya.
So if for people who don't know Katie, you can contact me and I'll get the recording to you.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Bye, everybody.